Heyo everyone, ItsAMe here, and welcome, now that the channel's been rebooted, to my first proper Let's Play series. What I mean by that is this isn't just a video of me playing a game and talking, though it is mostly that. This is a recorded Let's Play, very much in the style of Conroy. And starting a Let's Play of one of my favorite games of all time, like top 3 favorite games, inspired me to get back into this style of Let's Playing. And I've been on a very huge Pokemon kick, so I practiced and researched Pokemon 3rd Gen 1 remakes. You know how to talk. So, with that in mind, let's get to the games. Well, actually, I should explain what this is. Now, despite the Gen 1 remakes not particularly having a definitive version, unless I wanted to go all the way back to Gen 1 and play Yellow, this isn't going to be a hybrid series, only because when I looked into my research, the only version differences that I could actually find were just straight up exclusive Pokemon, and I'm going over those anyway because I have to go through all the Pokemon regardless of what version they're in. So for that reason, I figured I would just do one basic series where we're just gonna focus on only Green, and whenever there's a version exclusive in Fire Red, then we'll just talk about it in the bios. Besides that, this is going to be an extensive guide going over all the Pokemon you can get throughout the main adventure, going over all the bosses and all their Pokemon, what they can do. With that out of the way, I think it's about time we actually just get started on this adventure. And yeah, press the buttons to do things. I'm not going to bother explaining that. In the world which you are about to enter, you will embark on a grand adventure with you as the hero. Speak to people and check things wherever you go again, be it in towns, roads, or caves. Gather information and hints from every source. New paths will open to you by helping people in need, overcoming challenges, and solving mysteries. Times you'll be challenged by others and attacked by wild creatures. Be brave and keep pushing on. Through your adventures, we hope that you will interact with all sorts of people and achieve personal growth. That is our biggest objective. Press the A button and let your adventure begin. Hello there! Glad to meet you. Welcome to the world of Pokemon. My name is Oak. People affectionately refer to me as the Pokemon Professor. This world is inhabited far and wide by creatures called Pokemon. For some people, Pokemon are pets, others use them for battling. As for myself, I study Pokemon as a profession. But first, tell me a little about yourself. Now tell me, are you a boy or are you a girl? This is the first of many new changes to the Gen 1 remakes, because back in ye olden days, I think it's 1997, we could not play as a girl, but we can now play as one. I'm a boy, so I am going to play as the boy character. Let's begin with your name. What is it? Now, pretty much everyone knows this character's official name, Red. Pretty sure it's Green if you're playing as the girl, if you also want to go with the official name. And even though Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green are not entirely story-based experiences, I still want to go with the official names just because that's what I do. Right, so your name is Red. Yes. This is my grandson. He's been your rival since you both were babies. What was his name again? And despite the recommended names, this is all based on version. His name, which is also pretty well known, is Blue. Yeah, no, they're very creative. Pokemon Red and Blue. The main characters' names were Red and Blue. To be fair, that's what the manga always does. To the point where Nate and Rosa in the Black and White 2 manga are literally named Black 2 and White 2. Well, his name is Blue, despite the anime making you think it is scary. This is Blue, and since obviously I'm going more so off game canon, and that's what he's called in the games, we're calling him Blue. Red! Your very own Pokemon legend is about to unfold. A world of dreams and adventures with Pokemon awaits. Let's go! Now we're gonna get shrunk down. And we're gonna go to the options menu, because even though it says that the text speed is middle, it's very slow, so I'm gonna change it to fast. Now, normally for Let's Plays, I like to play on set to add a bit of challenge, but after I finalized my team and then practiced with said team, I had to do a lot of switch training to get some of my team members up to the same level as my other team members, just due to the fact that while you could technically get the experience share, it is you're pretty much gonna have to grind the catching Pokemon for that, and I don't want to do that just because that's not how I play the games. And even then, you don't get it for a while, so I think it's better if we just play on shift. And yeah, there are frames. I'm probably just gonna go with type 1. There we go. Also, we got an NES. Red Blade at the NES. Okay, it's time to go. Then make sure you go to your PC, because then you can get a potion. This is very helpful early on. Heals 20 points of damage. Supposed to notice. Confused. Ask for help! Press the L or R buttons. Also, yes, I didn't do any capitalization in, well, proper capitalization in Red's and Blue's name, because that's how characters are named in this game. See, Mom is in all uppercase letters. Right, all boys leave home someday. It says on TV. Oh yes, Professor Oak next door was looking for help. Well, let's go next door and see if there's Professor Oakville. Also, yes, this is legally my house. I am the house owner. I pay all the bills, and Blue also owns his house. Hi, Red. Brother Blue's out at Grandpa's lab. Well, if Blue's at the lab, then I guess we should go to the lab. Pallet Town, shades of your journey awaits. Is that right? Oh, look. Trainer tips. Press start. Oh man, yeah, I already did that. Technology is incredible. Can now store and recall items and Pokemon data as via PC. I can definitely read. Oak Pokemon Research Lab. Let's go in. Well, if it isn't my old rival that apparently I've been fist fighting since I was a small baby. What? It's only Red. Gramps isn't around. Okay, I guess. Gotta just do something, I guess. Go north. Yeah, I guess that works. Hey, wait. Don't go out. It's unsafe. Wild Pokemon live in tall grass. Need your own Pokemon for your protection. I know. Here, come with me. Then he's gonna take us to his lab and stuff. Gramps, I'm fed up with waiting. Blue, let me think. Oh, that's right. I told you to come, just wait. Here, Red. There are 3 Pokemon here. Haha. The Pokemon are held inside these Pokeballs. When I was young, I was a serious Pokemon trainer. Now in my old age, there will only these 3 left. You can go have one. Choose one. Hey Gramps, no fear, what about me? Be patient, Blue. You can have one too. Now we have 3 choices to start our adventure. Bulbasaur, Squirtle, or Charmander. Now before we go and actually make our choice, I think we should go and check out what these three are about. And help me for my choice, even though I totally haven't already decided which one I'm gonna use. But more likely, for those of you playing along who either just want to know the stats and what makes all the Pokemon good, and or that you need help with your choice because you're genuinely indecisive. Let's get to the bio. Alright, so let's get into what makes a Pokemon a Pokemon. Since even though most people who click on a Pokemon video in 2023 are Pokemon fans, the purpose of an informative series like this is that you, the viewer, don't have the up-to-date information, and I am going to give it to you. So let's start with Pokemon types. Every Pokemon has a type that determines what Pokemon it's good and not good against. Now I have to check some. Good example here is Bulbasaur. Oh, exactly, that's a good example. We're just going to go over it. It has 4 weaknesses due to the fact that it's a grass poison type, which, oddly enough, Bulbasaur is one of 2 Pokemon in the entire series as starters to actually start with a dual typing. The other one we won't be getting for a long time. But it only having 4 weaknesses is pretty good for Bulbasaur, considering it's a bit of a tank. But we'll get into that later. Next we have movesets. This is just Pokemon we can learn. I'm not listing the Pokemon's entire moveset on here because I'm listing all that sort of stuff in editing, so I don't have to go over what so I don't have to just verbally acknowledge what moves it learns. I do generally know, but no, if you want to know what a Pokemon learns and I don't point it out, just look it up on like Cerebi or something, because that's the resource I'm going for. Anyway, next up we have stats. Let's go over all the stats. HP is how much damage a Pokemon can take. If it only has, let's say, 30 HP, then it can only take 30 points of damage before it is knocked out. Attack is the amount of damage your attacks will do when they are physically based. Now, what is the difference between a physical and a special attack? In Gen 3, it is based on type. I can't verbally remember like all of the types that have a difference between physical and special, but for the purposes of review, I just know the main types that all of these starters will be using are special. So outside of moves you want to teach the starters, their physical attack is practically worthless when it comes to their actual stab damage. Just remember that for right now. Then there's defense. This is how much a Pokemon is resilient to physical attacks. Special attack, just like attack, but for special attacks. Special defense, same with attack. For special defense, for defense. And then speed determines how fast the Pokemon moves in battle. Anyway, now that we've gone over all of what makes a Pokemon good, let's actually get into how Bulbasaur works as a Pokemon. Has a decent typing, with only 4 weaknesses, which is good considering Bulbasaur is a bit on the tanky side. Its ability, which is something I forgot to mention, basically every Pokemon has an ability, and this helps them out in some way. Is okay, Overgrow, which case all the starters have this. They're the only real weak parts that outside of their hidden abilities, which is something we won't get to a long time in the series. They're pretty much just like, if they can activate, then they will, but like, don't count on it. They don't build a strategy around your starter's ability, because all it does is increase the amount of damage that its type effect will do when on lower HP. Now, one thing I do have to mention about Bulbasaur's type is, for those of you who like poison types and are expecting a good offensive poison type with Bulbasaur, don't. It doesn't learn any offensive poison type moves for the entirety of the main story. And it doesn't you don't get TMs for any offensive poison type moves until the post game. So, for poison type fans, only look at Bulbasaur's defensive poison type. If you want a more offensive poison type, there will be options later on that you may want. As for Bulbasaur's stats, it is very jack of all trades, with a lenience towards being a special tank. All of its stats are at the bare minimum in the 80s, and it definitely specializes in special attack and special defense, but it can more or less do anything. The only true complaint I have with Bulbasaur is that in the way of moves, it's a bit generic. Just about every Bulbasaur is going to have the exact same moves. It's going to have a normal type move, so it can do things against stuff grass is resisted by. It's going to have a status inflicting move, whether that be something like Sleep Powder or Toxic. It's likely going to have growth for the purposes of buffing its own stats. And then it's going to have a grass type move to do stat damage. This doesn't make Bulbasaur inherently a bad Pokemon, but it is a bit generic. And while this isn't a big point I want to dwell on, for those who are new and just want an easier time throughout the game, I recommend Bulbasaur the highest. So many of the early fights, not even early fights, just big fights in general, grass is such a good type to have. It either resists or is just downright super effective. There are only like a handful of like super important fights where I would say grass is a bad type to have on your team. So for those of you who are looking for a little bit of an easy mode, I recommend you pick Bulbasaur just for that reason alone. Charmander isn't as solid overall, though in general terms it does have better stats than Bulbasaur. But let's go over its typing first. When Charmander fully evolves, it will become a fire flying type, which is definitely an interesting type when it comes to how defensive it is, because due to the fact that while it does only have 3 weaknesses, one of them is a quad of weakness to rock, which basically means one solid rock type move, especially considering Charmander doesn't have the best defense in the world. It's definitely not super frail, but you could do a lot better in terms of defense, and it's likely going down. To make up for this weakness, however, it does learn Metal Claw relatively early on in its lifespan. It can be a genuine counter. Besides that, only real complaints I have in terms of its moveset is it's not the most varied thing out there, because I do want to say it's varied because it learns a dragon type move, but however, that dragon type move is set to only a certain amount of damage, so it really doesn't matter. That aside, in terms of stats, we have a fast special attacker with a solid bit of special defense. The only actual true complaint I have with the Charmander line is the fact that this is 3rd generation and not 4th generation, there isn't much use for that flying type, because while its physical attack isn't bad by any means, it is primarily a special attacker, which means it's not going to get much use out of those flying type attacks because they are physical. But it is one of the most popular Pokemon for a reason. There's no Pokemon that can go bad. Another thing that makes me want to slightly deduct points, or more so just point out, For those who are more experienced veterans who are looking for a bit of a challenge, I recommend you pick up Charmander. Fire isn't that great of a type to have in Kanto. It doesn't do great in a lot of fights, particularly early on. The big fights early on, your Charmander isn't gonna be all that helpful, and you're definitely gonna need to plan your team. Like, I do recommend you playing your team around your starter no matter which one you pick, but definitely, like, make sure your first Pokemon or two complements Charmander well. Otherwise, those early fights can be really difficult. Last but not least, the all-rounder Squirtle. Now, Squirtle's my personal favorite. Start off, it's a pure water type tank, which is fantastic because it only has 2 weaknesses. Those weaknesses aren't particularly rare or anything, but the fact that only 2 types of Pokemon can do super effective damage against a tank is just a really attractive quality. As for its actual stats, once again, it's a tank. It's got good defense, special defense, and has good enough special attack to where its special moves will do damage. It only learns water, normal, and a dark type move in terms of offense when it comes to their level up moves. But once again, it's a tank. Its stats are really what you're looking for here. None of these stars are the most varied in their play style, but they're all still good Pokemon just because they got the stats. And since I mentioned that Bulbasaur is effectively the easy mode and Charmander was effectively the hard mode, Squirtle is the middle mode, sort of, like normal mode. It has fights it does really well against, it does fights it does not so well against, but for the most part, if you're just looking for an average Pokemon journey, not leading one way towards too easy or one way towards too hard, it's a good Pokemon that I can recommend. Though, to be fair, I recommend all of these Pokemon. Alright, now that we got the bios out of the way, I just want to point out, before I even make my choice, is that this was hard. When I was planning the series, like what team I was going to use, I considered every one of these at one point. Though I made my choice. I'm going to use Bulbasaur. Yes, we're going to nickname our Bulbasaur. And I'm going to nickname Bulbasaur Sprout. And our rival takes the Pokemon that is super effective against ours. Now, before we even go further, let's see what kind of Bulbasaur we got. Serious nature. Okay, I'll look in to see what that does. I'm really happy! Serious nature is a neutral nature. Sure, I might have technically preferred something that upped my special stats, but Bulbasaur doesn't have a bad stat on it, so a neutral nature is pretty much perfect. Wait, Red, let's check out our Pokemon. Come on, I'll take you on. So we're gonna have a battle of fates. Rival Blue versus Red. And normally I go over bosses' movesets and all that, but for the purposes of this video, I'm just gonna tell you, yeah, they're the same level, but they have Tackle and Leer if he has a Bulbasaur, Scratch and Leer if he has a Charmander, and Tackle and Withdraw if he has a Squirtle, or Growl in the case of Bulbasaur. This fight really does boil down to just using your attack move until you win. And if you get a really dicey, or I guess Charmander has Growl as well, huh? Yeah, and if you get in a really dicey situation, Okay, I guess I have to explain that critical hits are very rare, but they ignore all status changes and or stats change, not status changes, and then just do a whole ton, do increased damage. That was a good first battle sprout. Level 6. Don't think I didn't notice the 69 experience. Haha, I'm very funny and original. What? Unbelievable. I picked the wrong Pokemon. Yeah, Blue, you picked hard mode. That wasn't the reason I picked Bulbasaur, because once again, I legitimately really want to use every starter at one point. Okay, make my Pokemon battle to toughen it up. Gramps, smell you later. Well, we've already had a 25-minute episode, and it's definitely a sizable episode. I want to keep going on, because there's one thing I want to get out of the way. Route 1, Pallet Town Brain State. And normally when we get to new routes, I go over the new Pokemon you can catch. However, the thing is, you can't catch any new Pokemon because we don't have a means to catch Pokemon yet. So, going over what you can catch now and if I recommend it or not would kind of be redundant. Yeah, it's just gonna deal with me until the end time. And yet, I'll show like the first couple of wild battles, but after that, unless it's a Pokemon I'm like catching or anything, or if I'm going over a Pokemon while it's happening, then I'll just cut out any wild encounters. Hi, I work at the Pokemart. It's more of a convenient chain selling all sorts of items. Please visit us in Viridian City, and I'll give you a sample. Here you go. Here we have a potion. Which I've already gone over what a potion does. So I don't need to explain it again. What do you have to say, sir? Seems like this is along the route. It's a bit scary, but you can jump in front of them. Pallet Town quicker that way. Yes, but I'm trying to... And this guy's trying to block me off. And once again, even though these battles aren't exciting, I'm going to show like just a couple of wild battles just to start off the series. That just feels nice to me. Just makes sense. Alright, there we go. And Sprout is level 7. And learn Leech Seed. Yeah, I probably should have technically explained what the moves we had just because that makes sense. Tackles 35, 95 accurate. Normal type move. Growl lowers your Pokemon stack. And Leech Seed steals some HP from your opponent every turn. Very useful. Especially during generally how grass types played are slow and they inflict statuses on your enemies. Oh, so we're gonna have one more battle before we can actually move on. You know, I'm gonna play this safe. Though I'd like to save up this potion, I'd rather not lose to a Rattata. Alright, Tail Whip. Let's just finish this real quick and then can move on with our lives. There we go. Gary at the next city, Viridian City. Current tips, development is Pokemon limited PP points. I'll go over that. Pokemon Center, you can heal your Pokemon here. I have no need for that right now, for reasons you'll see in a bit. Let's head to Pokemon Mart. Hey, you came from Pallet Town? No, Russer Oak, right? His order came in. I get you taking him. And we got Oak's Parcel. Which now I have to return to Oak, but before I have to, I'm going to show you a roadblock. So even if you didn't want to do this mandatory thing, you can't move on just yet. Oh, Grandpa, don't be so mean. So sorry, he hasn't had his coffee yet. I absolutely forbid you from going from here. This is private property. In the original Red and Blue in Japanese, he was drunk. Just figured I should point that out. Though to be fair, as someone who is addicted to coffee myself, I totally get how the old man feels. Well, yeah, let's get back to Pallet Town. Yeah, sure enough, with like hopping that. The last grass is the one where you get in. Alright, here we are back in Pallet Town. Before we go to Oak's lab, I'm gonna show something you can do at your house now. Can talk to your mom and heal up your Pokemon. I will take care. Well, let's go talk to Oak real quick. Oh, Red, how is my old Pokemon? Well, it seems to be growing more attached to you. You must be talented as a Pokemon trainer. What's that? You have something for me. We delivered Oak's parcel. Ah, it's the custom Pokeball. I had it on order. Thank you. Gramps! I almost forgot. What'd you call me for? Oh, right. I have a request for you two. On the desk here, this is my invention, the Pokedex. It automatically records data on Pokemon you've seen or caught. It's a high-tech encyclopedia. Red and Blue, take these with you. And we get the Pokedex. Can't get detailed data on Pokemon by just seeing them. You must catch them in order to obtain complete data. So here are some tools for catching wild Pokemon. We get 5 Pokeballs. When a wild Pokemon appears, it's fair game. Just throw a Pokeball at it and try to catch it. This won't always work, however. I don't know why my my Professor Oak voice sadly turned into like a cowboy voice. Healthy Pokemon can escape. You have to be lucky. To make a complete guide on all Pokemon in the world. That was my dream. But I'm too old. I can't get the job done. So I want you two to fulfill my dream for me. Get moving, you two. This is a great undertaking in Pokemon history. Alright, Gramps, leave it all to me. I hate to say it, but you won't be necessary for this. I know, I'll borrow a town map from my sis. I'll tell her not to lend you one, Red. Don't bother coming around to my place after this. Yeah, we've been here for a decent amount of time, and we've made the progress I wanted to. So, next time on Let's Play Pokemon Leaf Green, we'll embark on our quest to complete the Pokedex, which I'm totally not going to do. That's too tedious for me. But we'll see what sorts of Pokemon we can find and embark on our journey anyway. This has been ItsAMe. Take care, and I'll see you guys next time.